Before the president holds his national dialogue,
we're holding this one with you. The People's Dialogue
with Clement Manyathela on 702.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to this special edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. I hope you are well from wherever you're listening to us from. It's so great that you could join us here on 702 this morning. More so because today we're doing what we normally do on the 702 open line between 9 and 10 o'clock, where we discuss a variety of issues and we try to solve them. Except today, we are extending that 702 open line for the entire 3 hours of the show. And as opposed to entirely talking to you over the phone or on WhatsApp or on YouTube, we're doing it face to face and we're calling it the People's Dialogue. So welcome to the People's Dialogue, a forum that seeks to bring together South Africans from all walks of life, from various formations, a forum that seeks to talk frankly about the challenges that we are facing as a country and look at the potential solutions. We didn't invite any politicians here or any government officials as guests. We just want to have a conversation amongst ourselves, a conversation about this country that we love so much. Where do we find ourselves as a nation? How did we get here? And what are the challenges that are facing us and that are derailing us? And how do we solve them? And where are we heading? And as we know, a conversation is often a starting point to finding solutions to problems. So welcome to all of you that have joined us here today to help us reflect on our challenges and find solutions. Trust me, those that are in power are listening. So welcome to the People's Dialogue.
Dear Mr. President,
we'd like a word.
The people have something to say.
The People's Dialogue
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
So remember to watch this People's Dialogue on YouTube. You just go to the 702 YouTube page. If you're listening to us on the radio and you're wondering, I want to see this take place, just Google 702 YouTube page and you will find this dialogue. You also welcome to join this People's Dialogue by calling us on 011-883-0702. You can send your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702. Now, we have so many challenges in this country, and I imagine you're probably listening and wondering, where do we even begin? We have crime that has gone out of control. Unemployment is at its highest. Our education system needs fixing, including infrastructure in rural areas. Our race relations haven't improved much. Institutional racism is still very much a part of our reality. We have housing issues, delays there, and corruption in the system. We have a plethora of issues within the health system. Land reform is still slow. Service delivery is a mess, even though the Johannesburg mayor gives himself 8 out of 10. This is what he told me when he was on the Clement Manyathela Show last week, which is quite a joke because that's not what we experience as the residents of Johannesburg. So we're going to dedicate every half hour of the show over the next 3 hours to two of the biggest issues that many of us have suggested. You've suggested them to us to discuss on the People's Dialogue. So each 30 minutes, we're going to be dedicating two of those biggest issues to discuss. And I just want you to be very comfortable. Call us, send us a WhatsApp voice note, but raise your hand to have an input about whatever issue that we are discussing. It's 12 minutes now after 9 o'clock. We're going to start the People's Dialogue after this.
This isn't a press release.
It's not a media briefing.
It's the voice of the people.
The People's Dialogue
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
on 702.
It's 16 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to the People's Dialogue. It's so exciting to do the extended 702 open line and see the faces, right? And have a conversation with people, seeing them face to face, as opposed to just over the phone or with you guys sending us your WhatsApp voice notes. So on the People's Dialogue this morning, we are having a conversation about a variety of issues, if you've just joined us. And one of the issues I want us to start with is, of course, corruption. But before we get there, so here on 702, we, of course, sort of have a sense of what are the issues that affect 702 lenders. But I think when we have a People's Dialogue like this, it's important for us to get a sense of what are the issues affecting other communities. And I see we've got Mfanelo Zanibe from Tembisa Online, who is joining us here for the People's Dialogue. And I want to get a sense from you, Mfanelo, what are the people complaining most about on Tembisa Online when they're calling in? What are the biggest issues they have? Good morning.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everybody, and good morning to the listeners. As you have said, Mfanelo Zanibe from Tembisa Online is a journalist. There's a variety of issues around Tembisa and also Ivory Park, Midrand, and places surrounding, which one is a very concerning matter of dumped fetus, like your illegal abortions. Almost every week we have a dumped fetus in Tembisa and around. So those are some of the issues which
Almost every week?
Almost every week. And I'm only accounting on issues that we can only be able to attend the scene or be able to be told about. There's a lot or plenty that we might not have covered on our news. So some you'll find them being dumped and even banned. Some they will be put into plastic bags. Some they will be put into nearby streams. Also, yeah, it's a lot. If you might just say Tembisa Online, you might see there's a lot of dumped fetuses, which I think is a concerning issue on illegal on abortions, and also an awareness, if it can be created mostly on teenage pregnancy and everybody. And also it goes to the Department of Health to say, are you doing enough in terms of awareness at the hospitals? And why are the teenagers not going to hospitals? Because obviously abortion is now free, and also it is advisable that it's within the law. So maybe it might be an attitude from the nurses, or maybe people might be charged. So those are some of the issues. And also Tembisa and Ivory Park has become one of the hotspots in terms of hijacking. A lot of vehicles being hijacked, you'll find it in Ivory Park. It's becoming a norm. You know, they don't have a specific car that they take. They can take as little as a Fiat Palio, and you will find it being dumped somewhere. Obviously, those are crimes which are trio crimes. Obviously, when there's an hijacking, you will find there's a gun used. People might be shot and everything. So also, vigilantism. Last week on Thursdays, there's 3 people who were burned to death. And specifically Winnie Mandela from Zone 8, 10, 3. People are now responding with vigilantism in terms of the crime that is happening around Tembisa. You might find that within a month, you might be having 5 people being burnt down. Talking about the reality, because I'm always on the scene. I'm not talking about I've heard on the news or what. I am the first responder most often at the crime scene. So, yes.
Sure, yeah, that is quite something. And that just tells you about the confidence that the community members have in the police. And we'll talk about that when we start discussing crime. I want us this morning to start the conversation with corruption, precisely because, and I don't know if some of you have seen this story on the Daily Maverick this morning. It's actually quite shocking. The CEO of the IDT was caught bribing, her and her spokesperson were caught on camera bribing Peter Louis Meyerbeck, who is the investigative journalist for Daily Maverick. It's shocking, but it tells you how brazen corruption is. It shows you how blunt these people are. It concerns me on the one hand because that means that they've probably done it before. Why did they do it with such ease? How do you take 60,000 rand out of your bag and you just offer it to a journalist? That's crazy. So I wonder if they've not done it before, but two, I wonder if the law enforcement agencies are going to pick up on this. So this is where I want us to begin. So if you've got something to say about where we find ourselves in as far as corruption is concerned, we've got some roving mics, and I'll start with a representative from Outer. How are you doing, my brother?
Always a pleasure, Clement.
Always a pleasure. Please just give us your name and surname. And yeah, let's talk about corruption. How did we get here and how do we get out of it?
Thank you. Julius Kleinans, I'm Executive Manager at Outer. And it's quite brutal. If you look about while government's talking about the national dialogue now, it's 700 million rand for a chat. We don't need another chat. We need action.
I can tell you we spent less than 700 million rand for this dialogue.
No, exactly. And that's the reality. So, you don't need another dialogue. You can literally just get your shoes dirty and start seeing how people are suffering. And that's a sad case. So I think, firstly, South Africa has no shortage of laws and policies and even commissions for fighting corruption. It's really a lack of political will. Corruption is not being defeated by new frameworks. It's thriving because of the absence of consequence. And I think that is really why we're sitting where we are. There's always been sufficient funds in South Africa to address the wrongs of the past. It's the leaders that has had the ability and responsibility, the custodianship, who are bad stewards in ensuring that we can get freed up and ensure that we live in a corrupt-free South Africa where everyone can prosper. So it's become a space, and I think the former President Zuma boasted about the thousands of millionaires that was created under his reign. And it's not necessarily productive salaries that were created. And it's really the coffers of tax that's been stolen. So I think another big problem is how the influence of state capture has broken the system up and opened it up for freedom of corruption. If you look at the lack of investigative capacity in the police service, obviously if there's a crime, someone needs to investigate it, get the facts, and that needs to be positioned in such a way where you can actually prosecute someone. We know that the NPA has been infiltrated as well. And till this day, a lot of those people are still in those positions of power and influence. So for as long as we don't have the political will and the leaders who are bold enough to take action, regardless of who's in power, we won't see a difference, the difference we need to see.
Yeah. How do we see the difference? Does anybody else want to talk about the issue of corruption? We can bring the mic over here. Because I get what you mean about the lack of accountability. For as long as, do we know any prominent politician who's in orange overalls? Any of us? John Block in the Northern Cape, but who else? Isn't that a problem? Like when we talk about corruption and politicians, we just saw someone on Sunday, a video of someone offering a bribe. And the question is, are we ever going to see them in orange overalls? Because that's just the tip of the iceberg. Peter Louis Mayberg has published so many stories about this woman and the trail of money. But are we going to see her in orange overalls? And why do we not see that? Like at what point are we going to say we are actually dealing with crime? Go ahead, brother.
Hello, my name is Lawrence. I am a concerned citizen and a parent and a father of two boys. And what I wanted to add on what Mr. there said is the level of investigation of crimes, whether it starts at the bottom as a first officer responding to a crime or a call-out. I think that the level of policing needs to be improved at the bottom. As day one, when you walk into the police college, we need to look for a different kind of person, a different kind of custodian. What is profound for me is that there's a lot of people that want to be police officers. Look, for instance, the last intake where they had the applications online where over 1 million people applied for 5,000 posts. And we really do need that million, So I think for corruption to to get lesser, and the impact to start is to get more police on the ground, and also to train them in a different way, to be custodians of law enforcement and love for people and the country.
Isn't the problem, though, that most of the police officers, I mean, I've got cousins who have applied to be police officers, not because they love it, not because they want to serve, but because they are unemployed. They need a job. And I think that's an issue for me, because if you don't have the love and you don't understand why you're a police officer and you actually grasp the responsibility you have as a law enforcement officer, then you're easily going to be taking and giving out bribes.
And that's the problem that we have. I come from a family where my father was in the police and my mother was in the police. My father also died in service. So I completely understand how it is to have a passion for law and a passion for people. So we need those kind of people. I want to put something bluntly out there, is that many people that get into such eligible job opportunities, I'm not sure if they get it in an honest way, you know, and that to me is one of the first places where something needs to change. When you want to serve your country or your parliament or your organization, it needs to be in your heart. You mustn't buy a job from somewhere. Not that anybody's buying, but there's many ways. I think that's where it starts. It starts at the bottom. It starts with our young generations. And then lastly, many job opportunities that come out these days says 18 to 35. You know, I'm a little bit older than that. It's becoming difficult, you know, to compete. And you don't have any direction to go to get a proper job. That's why some people just take a job that's there, and then they take the wrong job. I think it starts there, at the bottom, and to get the right people for the right job, like specifically talking about police officers, you need to be blue in your heart to do this job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've heard, let's get somebody else on corruption. I've heard some listeners raise the issue of age, that we are almost like the door is closed on us because we are older than the bracket, you know. And of course, the conversation then is, where do we prioritize? Like, you know, which age group is mostly affected by the issue of unemployment? And we'll talk about that when we discuss unemployment. But that's a legitimate concern that I know has been raised several times on the show. My brother, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there you go. Okay. My name is Monwabi Sidwenbas. I'm from Treatment Action Campaign based in Gauteng. So the issue of corruption, I think it's our biggest enemy in the country when it comes to progress, because it manifests in different degrees. I will only tackle one dimension, you know, that happens under public health care, where we see, corruption manifesting itself through bribery, kickbacks, issues that relates to inflated healthcare bills, issues that relates to employment corruption, issues that deals with procurement irregularities. But I can give a myriad of examples. I mean, Tembisa Hospital is one of them, where R1 billion actually was stolen, and nobody is in incarceration as we speak right now, except for those who were ordered to kill Babita Diokaran, and I mean that case is still dragging as well. And then also you check in other hospitals as well, you realize that actually for those who are awarding tenders, they always expect kickbacks, and that hinders the provision of quality health care. And that's the biggest problem. Unfortunately, nobody of significance that has been arrested for such. So that means the very same people that we trust, whom now we've lost that rapport with, are actually complicit, right? So if you look at the value chain, you will find politicians being there, people who are quite formidable in business, also being part of the very same cartel, if you like, and that's the biggest problem. And I still don't know what is to be done, because the very same police whom we entrusted them with that particular responsibility to be able to restore justice, but are the ones who are actually in the pockets of those who are actually participating in that particular cartel. So that's the biggest problem. As Treatment Action Campaign, were concerned about such, really.
Yeah, and in fact, Dr. de Kock is here with us. We've spoken to you many times as a policing expert.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to, as this gentleman said, be blue in the heart. And we're not seeing a lot of that, and that's the beginning of the problem.
Maybe just a little bit of my background. I was a researcher at the Human Science Research Council, joined the police in 95 as the head of the Crime Information Analysis Center, and then retired in 2013, but I still do my analysis every day. And I'm doing consulting work. I just now want to stick to corruption, because otherwise I get involved in the crime discussion. That will be later. On corruption, I think there's a basic problem. Point number one, I think people join public service on all levels, local, up to national, police, all departments. They join it and think, as you have said, sometimes they don't get another work, so they join that. And they think they're going to get rich. You can't join the police service and think you're going to get rich, even if you become a general eventually. I mean, it's a salary that you can live with quite well. There's no shortage of nothing. But the thing is, people think they can become rich, and then corruption starts to creep in, because that's the big money. Not the salary, but the money that can be made on the side. And unfortunately in South Africa, we have become very materialistic. We compete with the neighbors. We must have a bigger car, bigger house. We must have 5 houses, not only one. And we have become more materialistic. I always said the American society is the most materialistic, but I think we are far ahead now. I think they've lost us, or we lost them. That's one issue. The second issue is that materialism and a lack of patriotism. We don't do anything for the country. It is what is in it for me. Now, if we have that attitude, we can just as well even close the doors of the police service.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, we can clap to that. It's okay.
Dear Mr. President,
We'd like a word.
the people have something to say
The People's Dialogue.
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
22 minutes before 10 o'clock, you are listening to the special edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. This is the People's Dialogue. I'm doing the open line, but I can see the people I'm talking to. This is so cool, actually. I think I should do radio more like this. I think this is an idea. We should talk to the bosses to have an audience every time we do radio. It's so much fun interacting with people when you can see them. All right. We are also interacting with you. If you're listening to us, maybe you're driving to work, you're at the office, you're at home, you can send us your WhatsApp voice notes on 072-702-1702. Let's hear what some of you have had to say based on the conversation we've had so far.
Morning, Clement. Morning to your listeners as well. You know, the solution to our problem in South Africa, these old men must give chance to younger people, to young bloods. They had enough money, they made enough money, they had enough time. Let them be removed and give young blood a chance, please.
Good morning, Clement, and thanks for the People's Dialogue. Can we push for subs and Metro Police all over the country to introduce body cams in order to monitor our law enforcement officers to get rid of the core of corruption? Can we just have body cams? It's Mario. I'm in Part1. Thank you.
Clement, good morning. I trust you well. Look, majority of our problems in South Africa are as a result of politics. Most of our socio-economic circumstances that we find ourselves in are as a result of politics, because the political elite is not interested in taking this country forward. Yeah, that would be my input. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your inputs. Let's go to Bongi, who is calling us from Kyalami. Bongi, good morning.
Good morning, Clement. Thanks for the opportunity.
Hi, go ahead.
Yes. I just wanted to say that the point I want to make regarding corruption, it really all depends on us as individuals. The day we stop being willing to pay bribes is when corruption will end. Secondly, when it comes to littering, it's each and every one of us who has to take the responsibility and say, I will not throw a piece of paper or cardboard out of the window because there isn't anyone who's going to come and pick up after myself. In that way, we will have better and cleaner looking environment. So I think a lot of these issues that we point to government officials for actually start with us. We stop being willing to pay bribes, then we're going to solve a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's so important, Bongi. I mean, how often do we think of the challenges and we are quick to blame, but we don't take self-accountability? Bongi and Kailami, thank you so much for your call. Let me wrap up the conversation on corruption with you, my brother, and then we'll move to unemployment. Okay, I'll come to you also quickly. Corruption as well? Sure, corruption is an issue, Miss. Okay, we need to move to unemployment. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, then we move to unemployment, yeah? Let's try be quick, because we want to try and cover as many topics as possible.
Oh, yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, good morning, everybody.
Sure.
Yes, good morning, Clement.
Sure, good morning.
Yes, yeah, you are right. It's fun here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we wish to see things like this more often. And I also like to say it sounds good, the national dialogue. We're beginning to see that maybe something good might come out of this. We don't want to come here and ventilate for nothing. It will be saving if there will be action. What we want the most is that whatever grievance we are bringing here, they must be attended to. This is the first, I think, dialogue that we are having. There will be another, I think, in December in Pretoria in the Union Building. I like to tell you, Clement, I want to be one of the first also there to ventilate. Yes. Clement, there are huge problems here in South Africa, including corruption. Corruption is really corroding all of us. We are all victims of it. I am part of the victims. And sometimes I even think that maybe I'm one of the most victimized. Clement, I have a situation. First, I like to talk about my situation. While I was going through history, I realized that there is more to me and my family than I thought. My family have a legacy that has not been properly honored by this government. So immediately after I realized this, I went from one office to another. I went beginning with the local, beginning with my local municipality.
What legacy are we talking about? Is it land?
You won't believe it. It's more like land, but okay. You won't believe it when I tell you that I am talking about Eden in South Africa. That land where I'm staying, where I was born, that is an Eden in South Africa. But it has never been, and my sister happens to be the Black Queen Elizabeth. It's a matter that needs to be investigated. I went to many departments. I went to the local. I wrote to the mayor, the local mayor. He hasn't responded to me. Okay. I sent him 3 emails. I went to the province. I went to the premier of the Free State.
They haven't. Let me tell you. They haven't.
Right up to President Ramaphosa.
Yeah, hold on. Let me tell you this. We're going to talk about issues of housing and land later on. So we'll bring it back there.
Yes, that's the corruption I'm talking about. Yeah. That's the corruption I'm talking about. It is costing us a lot because now that land I'm talking about has got the power to empower. In fact, has got the potential to empower the people around.
There's been corruption there in the system.
But because of the corruption, our state institutions that are supposed to be accountable, they are not. I mean, even the president, I sent him 3 emails. He hasn't responded. I sent emails to the Nelson Mandela Foundation. 3 of them, they haven't responded.
We'll talk about that.
They are the people who know a lot about that more than anybody else.
We will. In fact, I spoke to...
Because Nelson Mandela is part of it.
Yeah, I spoke to the presidency this morning. I know they're listening right now. So when we talk about land, we'll come back to that issue. Let's move the mic now, and then let's... 2 more or 3 more to go. Yeah. So we can get to unemployment. Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Lindiwe.
a
concerned citizen.
Yes.
I agree with the point that the doctor made that it's about patriotism. You don't even feel it from the politicians. You don't. And the bottom line is that politicians don't care. They really don't care. I mean, an example, actually, Paul Mashatile's irresponsible response to when the lotto was awarded. He's like, where are my friends and family supposed to do business? You can't respond like that. You cannot. You know, Dada Morero giving himself an 8 out of 10 when Joburg is such a mess. Right now, the finance minister, the finance minister is asking him about the 24 billion rand that's wasted. Where did it go when Joburg is such a cesspit, you know? And they just operate with impunity. They don't care. The police, you know, you get JMPD roadblocks. They're not there for the right reasons to enforce the law. They're there to get bribes. I mean, I remember as a child growing up, when traffic officers stopped the car, they would go check the brakes, check the indicators, whatever. In my entire...
They used to do that?
They used to do that.
I've never seen that.
Never. It doesn't happen. Like, are your brakes working? I mean, look at all the unroadworthy cars on the road. They're supposed to... Basic things that are supposed to happen do not happen.
Doctor, is that really a thing? They used to do that, traffic cops? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's not what... They check your license disc?
That's the disc that they check to
and
make
then
sure
that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah.
But brakes, indicators, lights, wipers working? No.
Wow.
You know, so those are the basic things that we need for things to happen, you know? And then for looking at us now as citizens, are we active citizens? Here is Dada Morero, who has spent 24 billion rand, we don't know where. Are we demanding answers from them enough? Or do we just get enraged in the moment and then we move on to the next drama that happens the next day and forget about what has happened in the past, you know? So it's terrible. I mean, look at the Tembisa community last week. There was that 150 rand surcharge that was added to the electricity. They protested. And you know what happened? It went away. So, yeah.
That tells
we
you.
also need to be active citizens.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
My name is Pumzile Chifingise from the National Planning Commission.
Hi.
I think I'm extremely excited at this platform and to hear so many inputs that are being raised by citizens. And I think as the NPC, we think that it's an opportunity for us to look at the emerging issues that we can take into consideration, especially if we're looking at the NDP that is coming to an end in 2030. So what issues can we take into the process of planning for the country's long-term development plan after 2030 has come? And I think for me, from this morning, I've already realized that how the declining performance of the economy has got such a ripple effect onto our socio-economic landscape with regards to crime and corruption. There's not a week that doesn't go by when we hear of how human trafficking has now become commercialized. Kids being stolen, mutilated for body parts. And for me, it's just how do you fix the declining moral decay in society? I mean, for you to be able to gain money from killing a child, from kidnapping a girl, from, you know, all of these stories that we hear on a daily basis. So yes, I think all of the inputs that have been made about how we can solve the police force and all of the institutional challenges that even has got a ripple effect onto the amount of jobs and the number of jobs that we need to provide a solution for. But how do we fix something that's so intangible, like Ubuntu and moral decay? You know, how do you do that as a person? You know, commercialize and benefit from the killing of a next person, you know. So I think for me, the National Dialogue was an opportunity to fix all of the socio-economic challenges and the economy as well, but also some of those intangibles, such as moral decay.
How do we fix that? Because I am interested in that, because I'm struggling with that as well. Because I used to look at religious institutions. I used to look at the churches, or I used to look at the family unit. You know, the American systems, focuses a lot on their family unit and how that's the bedrock. How do we do that here in South Africa? Because the churches themselves are compromised, right? We've got pastors that are just making lots of money from people. They're basically stealing money from people. And I'm really still struggling internally with how do we fix something like that, where we just need to go back to Ubuntu and understand that you can't do that to the next person. It's not who we are as a human species. And I don't know, if anybody has some solution to that, please come through.
Yes.
You had your hand up as well. Yes. It was on.
Thank you so much, Clement. I am Dr. Stanley Maposa from Devoted Citizen under Reverend Chris Matebula. I think if we can go back and just define corruption in our African languages, we would say ukubola. It's rottenness. I don't know what other languages would say it is. But the crux of the matter is corruption is a supply and demand thing that the person that gives a bribe is because the other one wants to get it. And let's look at ourselves from all angles and say, as an individual, are you not propagating corruption in the way you do business, in the way you do anything that you do? And as devoted citizen, our cry and our issue is that corruption is not only political. It is moral, it is unethical behavior that we need to be addressing, all of us. And we're looking at the story that you talked about Peter. How many would you have done differently if they were in the position that Peter was? How many would you have received that 60,000 and say they are given by God or they are given by ancestors when they were supposed to be reporting that particular issue? And we need to be giving Peter an award for what he has done. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Was there somebody else right at the back? Yes, over. Oh, here. Oh, there's the mic. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. My name is Vuyelwa. I'm a mother, I'm a concerned citizen, and I'm a new grandmother. I'm glad about the question that you posed in terms of what can be done. And you were also saying that you're also curious about that. But for me, we as a country, we've got a lot of shared trauma, whether it's across racial lines and across all aspects of being a society and a humanity. And I think the solutions we normally come to, for instance, we say corruption, and then we'll find a solution that will be almost a plaster instead of going to the depth of the thing of our humanity. And so I think that even when the government-led dialogue, people's dialogue, I think there should be an aspect of looking at the spirit of our South Africanness, the heads, the things that make us do levels of crime that go beyond humanity, that seem to not even be, we don't able to make sense of them, that a person could even think of looking at a child, looking at another person and saying, oh, there's a body part, there's a lungs that I can sell, there's something, it's just horrible. And for me, it goes with the pain and the deep traumas that we haven't dealt with. Even in 1994, we proceeded and said Rainbow Nation, but we did not go to the core of our psyche. We did not go in terms of what is it that is going to rebuild us as a people so that we can even have a shared vision. So there's a spiritual aspect to us, because most of us agree that we are body, mind, soul, spirit. Most of us and most religions, if you were to go to that, agree that there's a spiritual aspect. So I think South Africa needs to heal at a level that's going to produce fruits that now we agree that now we are being human. Even at the level of starting at ECD level, teaching kids about just being human. You don't look at another kid and want to bully them. So it goes deeper.
And Terry's here. We're going to talk when we talk about race relations. And I think that's a very important aspect. We've just moved on. We've just moved on, and we have not taken time to look at what are the wounds and how do we heal them. Because even the kids that are coming up now, they need to know about the wounds of the past and how mistakes must not be repeated. That's going to be part of some of the issues we're going to discuss. Over to you, brother.
Thank you, Clement. Good morning, everyone. The name is Oscar. The lady who spoke just before me, I think she must have read my mind. In preparing to come here, I was asking myself, what would be my contribution? And it's exactly latching on to that particular point. I think we missed the golden opportunity 1994 and the years just after 1994 to get society together across racial lines, across social lines, very deliberately. I think as a country we were too comfortable hoping that government would do that. We now know 30 odd years later that government will not do that. I think it's never too late for society, us as ordinary people on the ground, to reach out to each other. We live in different communities. Our communities are now somewhat integrated since there's no Group Areas Act, but I think there's still a lot of opportunity for us to reach out. Black and white people reach out across the street. We have an example of Alex and the northern suburbs. I see in my mind a situation where ordinary people reach out into different communities. There's a lot we can share. There's a lot we can share in terms of education, business, for example. We can share so much without hoping and waiting for government to do that for us. And I think if we do that, it's more grounded. You know, I decided in my area to start a dialogue of some sort where I'm bringing together colored, Indian, black and white people, ordinary people, where we'll meet regularly and just talk about issues, you know, find each other, you know, inviting my white friends to come to my township, sit with me, you know, eat what I eat and engage with life the way I engage with it. And I think that's a better, tangible, practical solution. We don't need to wait for government because we now know that that's going to take time and it might not happen. And I'm talking about engagement across all sectors, education, religion. I believe that many churches, most churches are still led by people with morals. And let's reach out to each other at that level in our sports group. For example, in schools, we only have ex-Model C schools and township schools meeting 3-4 times a year when it's athletics, and then we all go away and hope everything will fall into place. Why don't we have cultural exchanges between schools? Why don't we have cultural exchanges in our community-based organizations? And I think there is a more sustainable solution.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much. Thank you. What was that slogan back in the day? Vukuzenzele. Like, get up and do it yourself, because otherwise you're going to be waiting forever and ever. I need to take some WhatsApp voice notes on 072 702 1702. Let's hear what some of you have had to say.
Morning, Clements. I'll never forget the speech Barbara Hogan gave when they had the memorial service downtown Johannesburg for Ahmed Kathrada. She spoke about how hubris our politicians have become, that they don't see the millions of people who are in the street, who are eking out a living by scratching through dustbins and collecting recyclables and then walking 18 to 25 kilometers per day to earn a measly 100 to 200 rand. Now, if that does not encompass what we are going through as a country, I don't know what does.
Good morning, Clement. Andrew from Soshanguve. Good show once more. The challenges that South Africa, communities of South Africa, we know them. It's crime, it's common challenges, it's crime, then it's sewage spilling all over, roads, electricity. To me, we need just to get the government working and reduce this talking and producing documents that we don't implement the recommendation thereof. I don't know. It's a frustration to the community. It's a frustration to everyone. Good show once more. Thank you.